Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I have this nail tutorial for you guys today, and it's this fun triangle design. And here are the polishes I'm using for this design. I'm using two from the new collection from the OPI Washington DC collection that came out this fall. This first one is CIA from that, and then OPI Black Onyx, the other from that collection, which is Yank My Doodle, and Loreal the Statement Piece, which is my favorite gold accent, and Essie Blanc only because I couldn't find my Alpine Snow from OPI. Now the two colors that I'm featuring are two of my fall favorites, CIA and Yank My Doodle, and this is the nail design that I'm doing for these. I've done others for my other fall favorites, so look back in my channel for those. So I'm going to start off creating the triangles, and I don't have a silicone mat, but you can use that if you have one. I'm just using this sandwich bag from Ziploc that I'm going to paint the polish on. So I'll go ahead and paint all the colors that I'm using in this design, starting with CIA, and you just want to make sure that the corners are a little rounded and a little thicker on the edges so that it's easier to take off the plastic bag. Now you don't want to get it too thick because that makes your triangles a little thicker as well, but you want it thick enough to have it be opaque. And as you can see, I'm probably going to have to come back and do a second coat, but I'm just smoothing that out. And then I'll put it on fast here so you guys can see me paint on all the colors. Once I have painted all those on, I'm going to go ahead and do a second coat on those that need it, but again, not too thick. And I only let this dry for about 10 minutes before I went ahead and did my second coat. And then I left and went and did some chores and did some things that I needed to do because I wanted to make sure this was completely dry before I went and took it off the plastic bag. So as soon as these are done drying, I would give it a good hour or so. So you might want to do this ahead of time if you're planning on doing this design. But once they're dry, you want to come back and carefully take those off the plastic bag. Now this gold one comes off the easiest. The others can be a little bit tricky. So once I get that off, I'm going to put it upside down and let it dry actually a little more. So I'm going to go ahead and do CIA now, and this one's a little bit more difficult. If they rip a little bit, it's okay. You don't need that many triangles. That's going to be enough to give you what you need. And now I'm going to take off the orange polish carefully. This one was a little more difficult, and you can see I kind of lifted up with my nail. I think if you had a silicone mat, it would come off a little easier, but I don't have one. So just do the best that you can. It just takes a little patience and a little bit of time, and as you can see, it ripped the edges a little bit, but that's okay. I'm just going to use what's in the middle. So go ahead and place that one upside down, and then you go ahead and take the others off as well. And then once I have let them dry again for another 15 or 20 minutes, they're ready to use. So I'm just going to grab a pair of household scissors that I have and cut those up into smaller triangles. I think if you had a smaller scissors, it might be a little bit easier, but it doesn't really matter. These work just fine. So I'm just cutting various shaped triangles, some small, some long, some bigger, some fatter, some shorter, and as you can see, I'm making a nice little pile of my triangles, and then on the other side I'm kind of leaving the cuts that I don't want so that it's all nice and neat on a paper and I don't have to go ahead and sort through afterwards. So I just want to make it nice and neat, so I'm going to go ahead and do all those colors. And I cut way too many. I mean, you want to have at least 10 so that you have a good variety of shapes, because you're not going to know what shapes you're going to use until you get a little closer in your design. So I'm just going to put all these, spread these all out so that I have a good selection for each one that I want to choose. Set that paper aside so that I can access that. So that's nice to do ahead of time, and then I'm going to go ahead and paint my nails. As always, start with a good base coat. I'm using CND Sticky Base, and then I painted 2 coats of CIA on my ring and pointer finger, and then gold on my middle, and then the orange on my pinky and thumb. That just gives it a good variety and a good balance. I also applied 1 coat of a fast dry top coat on all my nails and let it dry. And then I'm going to come in with my fast dry top coat, and I'm just going to dab a little bit of that on the area of the nail I want to place the triangle. Now I have a little cotton swab and I've touched it to my tongue just to get it a little damp. And then I'm going to go ahead and touch it on one of those triangles on my paper, and I'll show you this in a minute, and then dab it on that spot. Now you don't want to go back with the Q-tip and dab again because it will get little hairs on it. I did that here. Didn't get any, but later on I was like, oh, that's probably not a good idea. So you can use your finger to pat that down a little bit and get it smooth. And then you're just going to go ahead and keep doing the same thing. And then as you can see here, I placed this triangle, but I thought, well, this is way too big, so I went ahead and just took that off, and it did smear a little bit, but it's fine. The top coat covers that up. But if you do happen to have that happen to you, you can just take it off carefully right then before it dries and then replace it with a new one. So it's kind of nice to be able to put it and see where you want it and change it if you have to. I mean, you don't want to do that too many times, but it's okay once in a while. And then here I'm showing you the process where I'm picking it up with my Q-tip and setting it down. You could also use a toothpick as well. I was just worried that it might put a little mark or indent in that triangle, so that's why I used a Q-tip. But then you just want to keep doing the same thing until you get it the way you like it. Once you have all of them placed on there, you can go see if there's any edges that are up and not flat against the nail. And so I'm just going to go with my fast dry top coat and just paint just a tiny bit underneath and then press that down once with your finger. You don't want to go over it a couple times because it'll make it kind of tacky and a whitish color. So you just want to press down one time. And now I'm going to start with my thumb, and of course I'm going to be using CIA on top of this one because this is Yank My Doodle and I did the opposite for the other one. So anyway, you guys get that. When you're done, you've let it dry for a few minutes, go ahead and apply your fast dry top coat. Now the surface of your nail will be just a little bumpy. If you don't want it to be as bumpy as that, you can go ahead and do another top coat on top of that, but be careful to not get it too thick. And that's the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed this design. Please, please, please give me a thumbs up if you did so I get an idea of who's really watching these videos to the end. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.